but philosophy is haram.
It's haram, even though, like you said,
You can't philosophize, haram.
even though, like you
Salafis
said,
will get you for that.
the Quran says that it's for thinking people. They have universities that teach you the Quran and proper interpretation, and they effectively have to, in some kind of way, explain away the things in the Quran that Allah says about Himself. What does it mean for Allah to have hands, or a shin,
two right
or a foot, or two right hands, or eyes, more than one? What does it mean? In order to answer this question, you have to apply a level of wisdom to the text. And so for that man to say no philosophy, that's ludicrous. Every religion uses philosophy.
I found that they quite often say, "Oh no, philosophy is haram. We can't," especially
Yep.
the Salafis. And
Yep.
I'm like, but you believe in hikmah, wisdom, and philosophy. The root word means the love of
Literally
wisdom.
means,
It makes no sense whatsoever. It's what they mean is because when people philosophize a lot,
Yep.
it helps you to think critically.
Yep.
And when you think critically about things like I said earlier about the sun setting and rising,
Yep.
rising between the horns of Satan, the sun traveling away at night and all this, you can't accept it. That's the problem. That's what it comes down to.
and with that, Islam continues to decline.
Especially with the internet. I've noticed
It's good with the internet.
the decline really started with the Yasir Qadhi Muhammad Hijab interview and the holes in the narrative thing. I think
That's
from
one.
there it really started to decline.
That's one. You could ask him, also do the whole, I forgot his name, the black gentleman from America, the avalanche of apostasy. It was already happening.
Oh no, Bilal Phillips.
Bilal, that's it, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it's Bilal.
Well, it's interesting because the most educated Muslim population in the world is the Muslims of the US. Especially, they have a very young, thriving population. They're very well educated.
And they're very liberal too.
But their apostasy rates are now around like 26-27%
Right.
amongst the youth. So it's quite interesting. Where you've got the most educated, you have the highest rates of apostasy as well.
There's something very interesting that I actually heard from a Muslim in Canada. So they were talking about how in the medieval period, the most educated person in your family would be somebody who you would make provisions for and send to like Al-Azhar University or whatever, right? To be educated in Medina or in Egypt or whatever the case was. Now, today, the most intelligent person in your family is somebody you will send to med school or engineering school or aerospace school.
Yeah.
So then
science.
exactly right. So then the dumb person is the one that you will send to those premier Islamic universities.
Yeah.
So what's even funnier is the entry requirements to study Islamic sciences is actually available online for Al-Azhar University. Guess what? It has the lowest entry requirement of any topic the university teaches. It's the lowest. It's the bottom.
I think because in that society, religion could probably offer a career path when they've got nothing else going for them.
Yep.
And if you can't think for yourself, there's always reciting the same stuff every day.
Exactly. So you know.
And no philosophy, never critical thinking.
No philosopher. So today, during like business management, has a higher entry requirements at Al-Azhar than studying Islam.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Lovely. And so the decline even in their sophistication of their scholars
There's
is
also something
also evidence.
interesting about in different countries, in academic circles, the amount of books they get translated in academia. Like the Islamic world is really low on its numbers of translating books.
Of course.
There's like this theologically driven ignorance and arrogance of we have it best, we have everything perfect, we know the best.
Yep.
So why do they want to leave?
Yep.
Why do they want to come here?
Yep.
Because they know it doesn't work.
Yep.
History demonstrates it doesn't work. The economic system doesn't work.
Nope.
The social system
Nope.
doesn't work.
Nope.
Let's not even talk about the inheritance laws, because this is
We can
This is terrible.
ChatGPT can work it out for us. Don't worry. Allah predestined that ChatGPT would exist to work it out for us.
yeah.
So don't worry about it. He knew all things before they came, and simply he was appealing to Jahil who couldn't do maths. That's why he made it so basic at that time.
Well, that's the thing. For me, it's just indicative of the place and time it was formed.
Exactly.
There's nothing really miraculous or divine about it. Like I was saying about the sun and things like that. That's what they thought in that place and time. Hence why. That's why when I look at it now, I see it as more of an insight into what was going on at the place and time. It's like there's a lot of verses in the Quran that talk about the growing of dates, figs, and olives and farming. But we're told the story is set in Mecca and Medina. This is a barren desert. They weren't farmers. But in the northern regions, that was going on. And that was on the trade route that Muhammad worked on.
Yep. Where you would also encounter
Colandrilism. What they call colandrilism.
Yep.
the type of Gnostic Christianity that was present in 7th century Arabia.
Potentially, yeah, in certain pockets. You certainly had like Orthodox Christianity via the Byzantine Empire, particularly in the north with the Ghassanids and the Nabateans. Yeah. They were there, but also a lot of Nestorians or heretics would flee from the north into the center, where
they
less traveled.
Accepted by the Byzantines.
Exactly.
And stuff like that
Exactly.
time, yeah.
So that's why this warrior
Persia
figure.
was Zoroastrian.
Exactly.
There were Zoroastrians there as well.
Exactly.
Where you find like the 5 daily prayers.
The 5 daily prayers. Even the Barak in that story is a Persian creature.
It's from Persian.
It's a horse with wings with a woman's face.
And even in the Zoroastrian version, the prophet or whatever that goes on this winged horse, he goes through the 7 heavens.
Right.
Meets Ahura Mazda, which is the one true God in Zoroastrian.
Look at that.
Who prescribes him 5 daily prayers.
Wow.
And we even know from Islamic sources there were companions like Salman al-Farsi,
who was
a Zoroastrian.
Previously a Zoroastrian.
You know, even to how it describes like the development of embryology.
Yep.
You know, this is where it gets really interesting. It talks about the bones then being clothed with flesh.
Yep.
But we know that's wrong. They grow simultaneously from the mesoderm.
We know that now.
We have the technology for that.
Yep.
Even P.Z. Myers, the leading embryologist at the University of Minnesota, he said it's vague and fuzzy, basically copying from Aristotle.
Yep.
I would actually slightly disagree. It's more in line with Galen type thinking. But here's the thing, Muhammad's own personal physician, I forget his full name, it starts with Al-Qalada, before the advent of Islam, do you know what he was doing? He was in Persia studying Greek medicine. And that's according to Islamic sources.
Right.
So you've got to understand, it's like it gets stuff wrong, and even stuff it gets right, it's all stuff that's around the place and time.
Yeah, anyway.
So I see it more as an insight into what was going on at the place and time.
I think that, you know when you're in school and you do like English literature, for example, and you have like anthologies of poems, I think of the Quran more like an anthology than an actual book.
Yeah, I mean for a book it's... After a
it's
while,
not coherent.
When I started to think about it critically, I did question like the structure of it.
Yes.
Why was it structured under the authority of
Uthman?
Yep. And then even down to like in a chapter, you'll be reading one part, you'll be saying like a circumstance, a scenario, and then it jumps.
Jesus did, yeah.
And then it will jump to, and with Moses this. I'm like, hold on, you've jumped back like 3,000 years. What's going on? And then a few verses later, it's talking about it jumps somewhere else.
Yep. It's an anthology of
very
poetry.
Weird compilation. Yeah.
Basically, it's just like it's like the greatest hits of the Arabs from the 7th century, put into like a single text. That's all it is.
You could do.
Yeah, and by greatest hits, I mean like the worst takes possible, but you know.
It does give insight into sort of what was thought at the time.
Yeah.
It does.
As a Christian,
that's how I look at it.
As a Christian, one thing that I pose to Muslims is for them to show me one thing in the Quran that's positive, that's like independent to the Quran alone, that doesn't exist anywhere else.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, like, I watched even a debate once, it was years ago. There was an atheist versus some Muslims.
Right.
And the Muslims were saying, it's mentioned in the Quran that all living things come from water. How could Muhammad know this 1400 years ago? And all the Muslims in the audience are clapping, saying Allahu Akbar, all this. And then the atheist guy just goes, well, the Greek philosopher Thales said it 2,500 years ago, and he didn't claim to be a prophet, so what then? That's more miraculous by the measure of time.
Well,
and he didn't claim to be a prophet.
In the Islamic paradigm, he might have been a prophet, but then after he died, the people turned him into a philosopher, and then that actually shows continuity between his message and Muhammad's message.
Who knows?
That's how you know.
Who knows?
That's how you rationalize these things.
Greek philosopher Thales was a prophet of Allah.
Yeah, he could have been. I've even heard that Krishna could have been one, and so could have Zeus. Buddha, yeah, they could have been prophets.
I've heard people say that.
And when they died, the Ahmadis believe that there is a hadith about Lord Krishna being a prophet.
I haven't heard that.
But they can't find it in the same way that the Muslims can't find the Injil.
Who knows? Yeah, I tried to ask Siraj about that and he didn't answer.
It's interesting because Siraj would say that the Injil is a book. And my question to him would be, what do you mean by book? As in, it's like a bunch of pages wrapped around in like a binding?
The question I have.
Yeah.
When I started to think critically, I started to wonder this. When you realize like the New Testament was written by Greeks in Greek first. Now the Greeks had a rich history of philosophy and discovery and these things. So what you see is, in that text, it's a lot more deep-rooted, it's a lot more intellectual, it's a lot more philosophical. And even the Torah itself is a lot more in-depth and detailed.
Yes,
than
sometimes too much, actually.
And for the Quran to claim that it's a confirmation of the previous scriptures,
be so
weird. He had
lacking
all
in
this
detail.
intelligence and deep philosophical ideas.
Then you
and
summarize
then
it.
600 years after, he dropped.
Yeah.
He dropped suddenly.
It's a
quite
summary.
weird.
It's a summary. But even the Quran mentions itself that not only was it revealed in Arabic for the Arabs, which already puts problems in how it can be for mankind if it's revealed in one language. It's funny. Additionally, there's another problem that the Quran admits to itself, that it is both clear and unclear. And my question is always going to be, can the book be clear and unclear at the same time?
Well, the Quran says multiple times it's clear, and the fact that they're in debates with each other all the time, with all these disagreements, even about...
Hashim, you're a coward, but I love you.
Even about the different variations of readings, shows it's not particularly clear. Like, I was discussing earlier with someone in Surah Al-Baqarah, where the word in Hafs is miskinin, it's plural for miskin, but then in Warsh it becomes, it's singular in Hafs, and then in Warsh it's plural.
Right.
And I'm like, right, it's meant to be clear, was it singular or plural? Because that changes the whole context.
He said both.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, the Quran just give you an overview of the fullness of the interpretation of the Quran. Why couldn't that be included in one harf?
Because it switches between singular and plural.
Yep.
And sometimes it uses different words to change the structure of a whole story or explaining a circumstance. Like in the verses when it's talking about people of the past fighting and harming prophets.
Yeah.
You get one reading that says fighting them.
Yep.
You get another one that says
killing them. Yep.
Another one uses the word for like harm.
Yep.
And it's like, well, if I punch you now, that'd be assault.
Yeah, but it's like
if I
killing me?
stabbed you and you died, those are very different crimes.
They are.
That word does make a huge difference. It's not the same meaning.
Actually, you see, they did both. They were harming them and killing them. And then when you read all of the different qira'ats, you will see the full story.
Yeah, but you could harm me now and I could still live.
Exactly.
So it doesn't provide, it's not clear.
It's not clear.
That's the issue.
And that explanation is nonsense, because there's no reason why all those details couldn't be included in one harf.
Yeah.
But hey, that's Islam, baby. The American Muslims, I find, particularly in the academic sphere, so like Yasir Qadhi, Javad Hashmi, those guys tend to be a lot more liberal in their interpretation. So Yasir Qadhi has come out recently with a second mic drop about the Hadith. Yes.
When he's saying, like, in academia, you have the historical method, and with Hadith, sometimes they coincide, quite often, majority of the time, they actually don't. And he said, like, when he's working as a sheikh, talking to Muslims, he quotes Bukhari and whatnot. But when he's talking in academia and academic circles, he doesn't. He
doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Funny enough, it's to me, that's a very common sense sort of critique. Because often when Muslims tell me, oh, do you know how this science works? My reply is, it is nonsense, and nobody in the academic world uses it. So that's proof to me that it's not that good.
I know.
But it's good to hear from him.
I know.
Yeah?
And some weird stuff has come through the chains of narration.
Yes.
I was talking about that with someone earlier. There's some weird stuff, let's just say. You know, genuinely, when I tried to become more religious, right, before I left it, and I actually own all of Sahih Bukhari.
Nice.
So
you have the originals.
So I have the original publishing from Dar es Salaam Publishing.
Before they started changing them.
And I started reading them.
Yeah.
And the more I read, I actually became, for a while, I was a Quranist.
Right.
Like, because I was also reading into psychology and psychiatry.
Right.
I'm reading this and I'm going, there's signs of potential OCD, paranoid schizophrenia.
Sleep on the right, step to the left.
Suicidal tendencies. Like, even down to the actual hadith about when the revelation came for the first time.
And it stopped,
Like, the angel doesn't introduce himself.
Nope.
You hear something and see something no one else can see or hear. That's a bit schizophrenic vibes. Then it squeezes him 3 times and he says, I can't bear it anymore. So you basically get assaulted. And then after his uncle died, it literally says he wanted to jump off the cliff.
Because the religion stopped.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, that's suicidal tendencies. Now, loads of people experience suicidal thoughts and tendencies, and you can come through that, right? But the point is, it's not a reliable source if someone's story begins on hearing and seeing things that aren't there and then suicidal tendencies. And what I also find weird is about previous scriptures, when you read them, the angel or God introduces himself. But Gabriel never really did. He was told by his uncle that it was Gabriel.
Yes.
And one other thing I questioned the guy doing dawah about this, it's quite logical, was his uncle was supposed to be one of these like Gnostic Christians,
yes,
present at the place and time. So I was like, so imagine you believe that your nephew has just seen the angel Gabriel that spoke to Mary, and he's just literally told you where it was. Wouldn't you go there and check it out?
Well, he's blind, which is the interesting
thing. At least
thing.
try and get a feel for it or something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if you said to me like your favorite football player is Messi, and I said, oh, he's just over there by that tree, you'd want to go meet him, right? But this guy, this is the angel that supposedly spoke to Mary and all this, and he didn't take any major interest in it, which is a bit weird.
Yeah, no, it's definitely interesting. Actually, what's even funnier about that is oftentimes the Quran will quote, or the Hadith will quote things that actually have a different significance in the Bible. So one reading of the Hadith you quoted is actually, he uses the word waraka, says this is the same namus that was given to Moses. So there's two ways of interpreting namus. You can interpret it as angel,
but the thing is,
or honor.
When in the story of the Old Testament, in the burning bush, God introduced himself.
Yes.
He said who he was.
Yes.
And it was seen.
Yes, so it wasn't just Gabriel there.
Yeah.
It was God.
Yeah.
And the Christians hold that actually that person is actually Jesus. That's what we hold.
Yeah.
According to according to the New Testament, that person that spoke to him was Jesus.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, funny enough, from our paradigm, if it's the same namus, then his uncle is either mistakenly or somehow positively affirming that Jesus spoke to Muhammad.
So you could interpret it through that.
That's how we would interpret it.
Claim, you could interpret
yeah,
it through that lens.
Which is interesting.
You know, there's lots of.
There's many things.
Oh dear.
Great point raised.
Yeah.
The other one as well, the last one I guess is, depending on if you're gonna like shoot up or whatever, is why would the instant reaction to the ceasing of a revelation be throwing yourself from a cliff? How would you know if you'd already received your portion of revelation and it'd been over from that point on? You wouldn't really know that. So resolving to like off yourself because you stopped receiving revelation isn't actually very logical.
Yeah.
It could have been Who
knows?
It could have been like a short revelation.
But the thing is, I think a lot of them were written much later.
Yes.
And I don't think there's much historical basis in a lot of them.
There isn't. There's Muhammad writing to Heraclius, which is like...
Oh, I was watching Bob talk about that,
That's nonsense.
Yeah, well, historically it would have had to have been nonsense.
Apparently he considered becoming a Muslim from a letter. Wow.
Yeah.
And I guess somehow Muhammad had like Greek writers. Somehow.
Well, he lost a lot of his Arabic ones as well.
The Battle of Yo Mama, or Yamama, however you pronounce it. Yeah. So it's very, very interesting. It's so many interesting things, so many interesting problems, and that's why there's been a change in the way that we interact now with Muslims at the corner. In my experience, they run away when I just stand still.
Like, not so-called, but so-called Junior called the discussion I had earlier on in the day about the sun setting and rising.
Yep.
And eventually I just gave up. There were people laughing at these guys, and this guy is genuinely trying to convince me that the sun physically rises between Satan's horns. And I walked off. I shouldn't have done. I should have stayed and asked him. But doesn't he spend the whole night up your nose? According to Bukhari, he's up your nose the whole night.
If you
so how's he there? But then his horns are there. And don't forget, if you miss your Fajr Salah, your morning prayer, it's because he's urinated in your ear.
And additionally, if you don't say Bismillah when you're in intercourse with your wife, Satan wraps himself around your junk and ejaculates into your wife. So he's doing all these things while his horn's out there in space.
It's always night somewhere.
He's a busy boy. He's a busy boy.
It's always night somewhere.
It's always night somewhere.